The Premier League continues to produce drama-filled weekends, and the clash between Newcastle United and Arsenal at St James's Park on the 28th of September 2025 was another classic encounter. Entering this match, Newcastle were determined to assert themselves as a force at home against one of England's modern heavyweights. Meanwhile, Arsenal, under Mikel Arteta, were chasing consistency and aiming to prove that their new squad additions and tactical evolution could withstand the physical, high-energy football associated with Eddie Howe's Newcastle. The match had layers of intrigue. Newcastle's reliance on intensity, pressing, and quick transitions versus Arsenal's refined possession game built around control and technical superiority. A battle of midfields. Guimaraes, Tonali, and Joelinton against Rice, Zubimendi, and Eberechi Eze. Both managers adapting mid-game as injuries, VR drama, and substitutions shifted the tactical landscape. Ultimately, Arsenal came from behind to secure a 2-1 away win, with late goals from Mikel Merino, 83, and Gabriel, 90+5, overturning Nick Woltemade's first-half strike, 33. The result was as much about mentality as it was about tactics, and it may carry significant consequences for both sides. Trajectories this season. First half, Newcastle strike. First, Arsenal's early control. From the outset, Arsenal attempted to impose themselves through midfield possession. Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi acted as pivots, recycling play and dictating tempo, while Eze floated between the lines to connect with Bukayo Saka and Leandro Trossard. The plan was clear: dominate the ball, stretch Newcastle's block, and create overloads on the flanks. Newcastle, however, were disciplined in their defensive setup. Pope organized his backline. Byrne, Tia, and Botman provided physical presence, while Livramento offered energy on the right before injury curtailed his contribution. The Magpies ceded possession, but looked to exploit Arsenal's advancing fullbacks through quick counters, particularly via Anthony Gordon's pace and Murphy's direct running. VAR drama. Arsenal denied. Early in the 14th minute, Arsenal thought they had a golden chance to take the lead when the referee initially awarded a penalty for what seemed like a foul inside the box. However, after a VAR review, the decision was overturned. This early incident set the tone. Arsenal were in control, but Newcastle would ride their luck and look for moments to punish any lapse. Newcastle's breakthrough. Despite Arsenal's dominance, it was Newcastle who struck first. In the 33rd minute, Nick Woltemade, the summer recruit still settling into Premier League life, rose highest from a set-piece situation, heading past David Raya. The goal encapsulated Newcastle's strengths: physical superiority, aerial threat, and an ability to capitalize on limited chances. Arsenal looked stunned, their passing slowed, their rhythm disrupted. To compound matters, Sandro Tonali suffered a delay due to a knock around the 41st minute, breaking Newcastle's flow but also giving them time to regroup defensively. Halftime verdict. At the interval, Newcastle led 1-0 despite Arsenal's dominance in possession and territorial control. Howe's side had executed their plan effectively: absorb pressure, frustrate Arsenal, and strike via set pieces. For Arsenal, the concern was familiar: possession without penetration, coupled with vulnerability to physical duels inside the box. Second half. Arsenal's response. Arteta's tactical adjustment. Arteta responded decisively, bringing on William Saliba at halftime for Mosquera. The change brought stability and ball progression from the back, allowing Arsenal to maintain pressure without fearing Newcastle's transitions as much. Calafiori pushed higher before being replaced later by Mikel Merino, whose introduction proved game-changing. Eze and Saka increasingly combined on the right, with Gyökeres acting as a target man to pin Newcastle's defenders. Pope, however, made several crucial saves to deny Arsenal, most notably from a low drive by Eze in the 58th minute. Newcastle's substitutions. A shift in balance. Howe's substitutions around the 65 to 66th minute were designed to re-energize his attack. Alanga replaced Murphy, adding pace on the flank. Osula came on, for Woltemade, aiming to press Arsenal's defenders more aggressively. Trippier replaced Gordon to provide defensive solidity and delivery from deep. Initially, these changes looked to steady Newcastle. Yet as the match wore on, fatigue and Arsenal's relentless probing began to tell. Arsenal's equalizer, Merino's moment. In the 83rd minute, the pressure finally broke Newcastle's resistance. Ironically, it was former Newcastle midfielder Mikel Merino, introduced by Arteta for Calafiori, who found the equalizer. Arriving late into the box, Merino connected with a well-placed cutback to finish past Pope. The goal was symbolic. Arteta's substitutions working perfectly, and Arsenal's midfield superiority translating into an actual breakthrough. Stoppage time winner, Gabriel the hero. As the clock ticked into stoppage time, Newcastle's defensive shape frayed. Arsenal won a late set piece, and in the 95th minute, Gabriel rose highest to head home the winner. The Brazilian, often criticized for lapses in concentration, delivered the decisive blow in the most dramatic fashion. The scenes were jubilant for Arsenal, an away comeback victory forged by patience, persistence, and character. For Newcastle, it was heartbreak, a point snatched away in the dying embers. Tactical analysis. Key battles. Arsenal's midfield superiority. The combination of Rice, Zubimendi, and Eze offered Arsenal control for much of the match. Rice was immense in defensive transitions, shielding the back line and recycling possession. Zubimendi, though quieter, provided composure and range in passing. Eze's creativity was a constant threat, finding pockets between Newcastle's midfield trio. Newcastle's midfield of Tonali, Guimaraes, and Joelinton offered power and energy, but they struggled to cope with Arsenal's technical sharpness. Guimaraes worked tirelessly, but Joelinton's influence waned as Arsenal pressed higher. Tonali's knock disrupted Newcastle's rhythm, and by the second half, they were increasingly chasing shadows. Set pieces, a double-edged sword. Set pieces defined the match. Newcastle's opener came from a corner, showcasing their aerial threat with Woltemade. Yet Arsenal's winner also came via a dead ball situation, as Gabriel punished Newcastle's tired marking. Both managers will draw lessons. How about defending consistently until the final whistle? And Arteta about the value of persistence in such tightly fought games. Wide play and transitions. Arsenal's wingers, Saka and Trossard, were constant outlets. Saka, before being replaced by Martinelli, repeatedly tested Burn and Botman with his quick feet and diagonal runs. On the left, Trossard provided width, though his final product was inconsistent. Newcastle relied heavily on Gordon's bursts and Murphy's directness, yet once Gordon was withdrawn, their attacking transitions lost edge, leaving Arsenal freer to sustain pressure. Individual performances. Newcastle Nick Pope, excellent shot-stopping, commanded his box, well but left helpless by defensive lapses in stoppage time. Nick Woltemade scored the opener with authority, but faded before being substituted. Bruno Guimaraes worked tirelessly but often isolated against Arsenal's numerical advantage in midfield. Dan Burn and Sven Botman, brave defensive displays but struggled against Arsenal's movement late on. Arsenal David Raya, largely untested aside from Woltemade's goal, but distribution helped Arsenal sustain attacks. Gabriel scored the winner and grew stronger as the match wore on. Declan Rice, Arsenal's metronome, broke up play and provided leadership. Eberechi Eze, Arsenal's creative spark, constantly probing and driving forward. Mikel Merino, super sub who turned the match, his equalizer shifted momentum. Bukayo Saka threatened constantly, forced Newcastle back and created openings. Managerial influence. Eddie Howe. Howe's plan initially worked well. Compact defensive lines, reliance on set pieces, and disciplined pressing. His substitutions, however, disrupted momentum rather than enhancing it. Removing Gordon reduced Newcastle's counter-attacking threat, and his defensive reshuffling, Livermento's injury, Trippier's late introduction, left gaps that Arsenal exploited. Mikel Arteta. Arteta showcased his tactical adaptability. Recognizing the need for stability, he introduced Saliba early in the second half. Bringing on Merino was a masterstroke, as the Spaniard not only scored but also added vertical thrust. Arteta's trust in his side's patience and structure paid dividends, underlining Arsenal's growing maturity. Broader implications for Newcastle. This defeat highlights Newcastle's ongoing struggle to balance physical intensity with tactical discipline over 90 minutes. They remain a dangerous side, especially at home, but lapses in concentration and an inability to see out results against top opponents will hurt their push for a Champions League place. Injuries to key players like Livermento further complicate their campaign. For Arsenal, Arsenal's comeback is emblematic of a team learning to grind out results. In previous seasons, matches like this, dominating possession but conceding to a set piece, often ended in frustration. Now, with leaders like Rice and Gabriel and impact players like Marino, they can find solutions late on. This win not only gives them 3 crucial points, but also reinforces belief in their title credentials. Conclusion. The clash between Newcastle and Arsenal on the 28th of September 2025 will be remembered for its late drama. Newcastle, resilient and opportunistic, took the lead through Woltemade, but were eventually undone by Arsenal's persistence and tactical superiority. Goals from Marino and Gabriel turned despair into delight for Arteta's men, who left St. James Park with a statement victory. It was a match of fine margins. VAR decisions, injuries, substitutions, and set pieces all played pivotal roles. Yet in the end, Arsenal's ability to sustain pressure, adapt tactically, and deliver in key moments separated them from Newcastle. As the Premier League season unfolds, this result may stand as one of those defining away wins that shape a title challenge, while for Newcastle, it is a painful reminder of the ruthlessness required to compete at the very top. Subscribe to this channel for more top-notch review and analysis.